about in 3, 2, 1. This week, Amazon knows just how you can get people to buy you presents with free 2-day shipping. Netflix isn't just making headlines for its original programming anymore, and we give you some ideas for the TV lovers on your holiday list. All that and a whole lot more. This is That TV Show, episode 222.
You're listening to the podcast for TV geeks everywhere.
You're listening to That TV Show with Pat Crane and Jules Scott.
Hey, that's me. It's episode 222 of That TV Show. I am Jules Scott, and I am here with the giggling in the background, man about town, Pat Crane.
Hi.
Hi.
You know, I was just thinking about that, and I think now I kind of want to make That TV Show T-shirts.
Yeah.
And just have it say "That's me" on the on the front of it. Just have it read that "That's me," and maybe a little logo. And that's it. And that's
Best meme ever. Are you kidding?
That's me. Hi, Jules.
Hi, Pat.
Did you have a wonderful Thanksgiving?
Okay.
Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? Was it okay for you? Was it good?
Sure.
Was it
Sure.
filled with games and
No.
other things?
No.
How was the rest of the weekend, though? Is that good?
The rest of the weekend was filled with games, but
Okay.
Thanksgiving was filled with a football game that I was watching, which was great distraction
Mhm.
from everything else. So
All right.
I
All
know.
right.
I just, Thanksgiving with my in-laws can be a bit challenging. So we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
But
All right.
you instead got to go and go to someplace a little
I
more.
was jet setting. Yes, I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I hung out there. And my sister and brother-in-law came down from Colorado, and my mom was there, and we had a very lovely Thanksgiving. Just the several of us, and just a good old time. So it was really great to connect with those guys. It had been a while since we had seen each other. I don't know. Your family's kind of spread around the country a little bit. I mean,
Yep.
Your parents are over on the East Coast, right?
Yep, exactly.
So it's tough to manage all that stuff when you're kind of spread out like that. And my sister's in Colorado. My mom has a few different places that she could be at because she is retired. So she has a couple of different properties. One in Wisconsin, one in the Twin Cities here, and then another in Albuquerque.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. And they're all kind of smallish places. And they're very cute. She's
Very cute.
so cute. She's so cute. My mom.
It's like my grandmother.
It's so
Everything in her
cute.
house is cute.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was a good time, and it was good to get out of Minnesota for a little bit. Of course, it didn't snow until I came back, but that's all right.
Do you have snow on the ground right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a little bit. We got some big flakes the other night. So
Nice.
those big ones, those it looks like dollar bills falling from the sky. No. No.
That's actually the nice kind of snow. You don't want to drive in that, but it's nice to look at it when you're
Sure.
sitting in a nice warm house behind a window.
Sure. Hey, just a quick note before
Yes.
we get into the show part of the show is that, and it's actually about this show. This is our last show for the season. It is. It's our last show for the season. Well, you agreed to it, so I'm
Yeah, I know.
assuming that we're okay. No, but it's the last show of the season for season 2 of That TV Show.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm kind of sad.
Don't be sad.
Well, I'm not sad. I mean, I'm just a little. I've got the feels going a little bit.
Aw.
You know.
Well, you know what? We've got some stuff. We got stuff planned for season 3 already. I can't talk about it because I've been hinting at it, but I can't talk about it yet.
Right.
But
Right.
when I can, you guys are going to love it, and it's going to be awesome. So, Pat, cheer up, little buddy.
Yeah, I know. We've got a lot to look forward to. I'm just kind of, I'm kind of in the moment, and I'm kind of, just. All right.
You can
All right.
watch
I think I've-
television
Oh, I can? Okay.
can
As
watch
long as I can still
television.
watch TV while we're not doing a show. Like, I was really concerned about that. Oh, man.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to picture you kind of sitting there watching or sitting in front of the television that's dark.
And then just
Be like,
going,
I can't.
and then just going, I can't watch TV because I can't do a show about it. I can't do a show about this show. I don't know. Speaking of shows about shows, what kind of shows have you been watching lately?
Well, I with the holiday weekend and all that, the stuff going on, I did catch up on some things. One of the things was I got a chance to see an episode of Chopped, their Thanksgiving edition.
Ooh, I love Chopped.
Yeah, and so I will reference this later in the show with a certain topic that we have coming up in this show. But let me just say that the Thanksgiving episode was quite fun because it was all of the stuff that you have certain things for Thanksgiving and then you're trying to make a dessert out of it. It's pretty funny. And they did a really good job, but man, that's tough. And so Chopped is awesome, as we always say. And then I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're still getting better, which is good. There was a big old twist this week, and let's just say they hooked up two characters that you didn't think they were going to.
Whoa!
Yeah, the show didn't seem like it was meant to have any romantic stuff going on in it, but apparently they decided to do that. Yeah. So
well, you got to have compute. Well, I don't know what I was gonna say. Compelling human emotion. I was like combining words in my head. That was crazy. Compelling human emotion and interaction, and that would definitely be compelling. So,
got it.
Compuling. I don't know whatever the hell that was. Oh.
And then I've been watching.
Sorry, I apologize.
You're fine. You're fine.
All right.
You know, I make up new words all the time, so if you can make up one new word in a season, that's good.
This is a compuling show. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
So I've also been watching Homeland season 2 right now, still in that one. Great show, like just really good. But there's certain, like they've taken it and twisted it on you, and to the point where you're just not sure where everybody's going to go in their characters because, it's such a great show, and it scares you to watch this kind of thing because you realize that this could really be happening, where an enemy, where the terrorist organizations are infiltrating your government and taking over certain of your agents, and you don't know it.
Yeah, that's part of the that I don't necessarily like shows like that that kind of portray it as more real. That's also I don't necessarily watch shows like that. And that's also one of the reasons why I've stopped watching like cable news channels.
Yeah.
It's because it just gets too real at some point. And you just go, you know what? My rage is up there. I just need to calm down a little bit. I'm just gonna walk away from this particular network for a little while, or this particular show, or whatever. And I'm gonna simmer down now, because it's getting a little too real.
And that's when you go and you watch Wipeout.
Yeah. Yeah, Wipeout, or in my case, this week I watched Top Gear.
Oh, cool.
Again, and I think I've talked about it on this show. I'm pretty sure I have.
Yeah, you have.
But and of course we're talking about the British version, the UK version, not the American version. The American version is dog crap, as far as I think most people can agree on, and that's why they stopped producing it. Okay. But Top Gear on BBC America. If you are ever sick, if you are ever like, if you're an insomniac, like I tend to be, up late at night, and then you say, well, I'm just going to watch a little bit of TV before I go to bed, and you have all the little infomercials on, for the shake weight and whatnot. Instead of watching that crap, you can watch Top Gear, which is on BBC like all night long. It's on BBC America all night long, and Top Gear is by far one of the best shows I have ever watched in my entire life.
Wow.
It's true. They just have a lot of fun with cars. It's 3 guys. They have a ton of fun. They do all sorts of weird, random stuff. They have strange races between public transportation and really fast cars, but it's always like this really weird trip, right? So it's never very straightforward. And like, for instance, there was actually a race between one of the guys on the show in the French Alps, I believe, and we had a car racing against two mountain climbers.
Wow.
The mountain climbers were going up a vertical cliff about, I think it was somewhere around 2,000 feet.
Oh, gee.
And they were starting at the same spot, but the car, in order to get to the finish line, had to take like a 60-mile road that was all twisty and curvy and stuff like that. You know, really serious road, right? And so they took off, and the mountain climbers beat the car by like 6 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. And so it's always just really fun stuff. And then they do it's not really about the car. It's about the cool, weird quirk that they come up with, that the producers come up with for this show. And it really is amazing. It's one of the best shows on television ever.
I've never seen it, so I have to take your word for it. Sounds fun.
And I'm gonna talk about one other thing, but I am gonna also talk about the worst thing on television ever. So I will get to that thing in just a moment.
Well, you just said what was the best thing on television was,
right?
So
we got to balance it out, but I'm gonna balance it out in another way. There was a stunning revelation. I'm making up words again. So there was a stunning revelation on Biggest Loser this week.
Okay.
And it was something that has never really come up. And I think maybe, longtime viewers of the show maybe have asked the question of them, to themselves every once in a while. But it doesn't really play a big part in the show. It actually plays no part in the show whatsoever.
Right.
But Bob Harper, he was talking with one of his teammates, one of the blue team. And it was a guy who was really struggling with being gay.
Mm-hmm.
And he had not come out to his father publicly anyway. I mean, not like said, I'm out. It's a strong Catholic upbringing, very conservative parents, and so on and so forth. I mean, you can kind of get the gist of it anyway. And he just can't do it for whatever reason. And maybe that has led to some of his overeating and some of his food issues over the years. So Bob talked to him, and he said, I have never said this on the show before, but I'm gay. Mm-hmm. Kind of a stunning revelation on the show. I mean, I know that it doesn't have anything to do with the actual meat of the show, right?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of weird that after, I don't even know how many seasons it is, but it's like 17 seasons or whatever the hell it is. And that's never come up before. It's never needed to. But it came up and it was like, you know what? That's cool. Good on you, Bob, for coming out. That's cool.
Absolutely. I just, I wish, this is my soapbox for the night, but I really wish that it would never even have to be an issue and make news that anybody comes out on national television. It
wasn't news necessarily, but it was just kind of cool that he felt comfortable enough with it to be able to talk about it if he needed to.
Yeah, exactly. I wish that it didn't even have to be an issue.
Yeah, and it again, it's just kind of one of those weird asides that I wasn't even thinking about it, really. And maybe I've asked the question of myself, to myself in seasons past or whatever, but I never really think about it. But the fact that he came out was kind of cool for me. I was kind of like, hey, that's awesome. I'm glad that
I think it's amazing.
I think that you're, he's an amazing guy anyway, and it doesn't change my opinion of him whatsoever. I just think that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So that's that part.
The sad thing is that it may not have changed your opinion of him, but unfortunately, there are going to be other people where it does.
Sure.
And that to me is like anytime someone comes out and, in public, that's a public figure, it then is splattered all over the headlines. It's, because that's what I read. I read headlines, I read news things, I read all this stuff for this show and other things.
Right.
And I wish that we lived in a country, in a world where that didn't need to happen. Because, no one's going to write headlines about the fact that, Allison Sweeney is heterosexual of that show. No one's going to write headlines about that.
No.
They're going to write headlines that she got married or had a baby. But, it's so that's the thing is we have these interested. So anyway, that's my soapbox for the day.
Sure. So I'm going to switch topics now. If that's okay.
Go for it.
Do you want to hear about the worst show ever?
Do I want to hear about this? Really?
I think you might. I think you might be curious about it.
Well, I'm certainly curious.
It sounded like you were curious about it.
I'm certainly
before
curious,
the show.
I don't know. Am I going to regret this?
Most people will.
Hey,
because I watched the worst show on television ever. I watched Sharknado.
I got it right.
I watched Sharknado, and that is by far the worst pile of shit on television ever. And I'm sorry that I'm swearing, but it is so bad. It is so bad. Oh, pile of garbage.
Now, this makes me laugh even harder because we talked about Sharknado. You made audio production parodies of Sharknado, and this is the first time that you've seen it, and I've never seen it.
Right. Absolutely. And there's a reason why we shouldn't watch this pile of crap. It's horrible. So I knew
I was right, by the way. I knew I guessed it.
Yeah. And so it was here's, first of all, Tara Reid cannot act to save her life.
No, she never could.
She has never been able to, and she proved that she is not an actress in this movie. In this TV movie. Pile of poo. Oh, God. So, really bad acting. Bad ADR, which is the recording that they do over the voice when they have like fans going and stuff like that. They bring them into the studio and then they speak over the top of the film so that they can line up the audio and make it sound pretty, right? Bad ADR. It was not good. And there were terrible effects. I mean, so horrible that it was like there was a shark in the water and it popped up. No water actually was displaced by this digital shark. And it didn't look like, no splashes or anything like that. It went back down into the water and it should have had like a little swell or something like that. But they didn't even bother. They didn't even bother with that. And then if you like science, you will hate this show. This is all I'm going to say. Because sharks were flying through the air. Giant sharks were flying through the air.
Of course they were.
And Ian Ziering took a pistol and shot them in the air. Number one, he's an excellent marksman. I don't think people know that. But every shot landed, and every shot affected the shark so that it went off course, so that it veered off of the course that it was flying in from a pistol. That's like a half-ton pile of shark meat flying at your face. You will not displace it with a bullet.
Oh, my God.
Maybe a cannonball, but not a bullet. So it was also, and then I'm sorry that I'm getting wound up.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. And then to top it all off, they didn't even give a crap and they put in a bunch of stock footage and they repeated the stock footage and played it like it was new again. Like stock footage of a shark swimming with the two fish, like the fish that kind of cling to him,
Yeah, the Maurice.
Yeah, those ones. So they had one piece of stock video that was that. It was a shark swimming in the ocean coming toward the camera. And they played that one when it made sense in the beginning, and there were sharks in the actual ocean that were swimming, right? Then we had the Sharknado, which is another thing that we'll get to in a moment. The Sharknado actually displaced a shark and put it into a pool. When they put the shark in the pool, they cut back to the shark in the ocean with the fish on the... So they didn't give enough of a crap about this movie to even try to change the stock footage of the shark in the ocean. And then they put it in a pool, and it's different. It's different water. It's different everything. It's
chlorinated water.
And then you also have weather patterns that made no sense because these storms would spring up and swell up, and the clouds would go foomp and darken the sky. And then the bright California sunshine would shine through somehow, magically, I'm guessing, because it is L.A.
Yeah, of course.
It is a land of magic. And so they would have bright sunlight on them and be running from storms. So that happened. I actually tweeted a bunch about it tonight, and as I was watching it, and it started off easy enough. It just said, "My Lord, I am watching horrible things. What I will do for that TV show."
I am really, really tempted to do something special for this show with us.
And then what I did the next tweet was this. It was, "Sweet almighty baby Zeus's beard. This is quite possibly the worst TV show one could ever see sober. The ranting starts at 9 p.m. Central."
I'm serious, dude. I really think that since you've seen this and you know what to expect, and I have not seen this, I really think that we could do a live stream of us both watching this and have the people in the chat room watching this and have us do a commentary.
I don't know if I want to put them through all that pain because here's the last tweet.
This is damn funny.
This is the last tweet that I'll share with you of the night. It just says, "My heart is filled with swear words. Bad TV is bad." This was the worst pile of crap I have ever seen in my life. They didn't try to make sense of things. Oh! I know what I'm gonna spoil the end for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I got to spoil the end for you because this is really important. So, in order to defeat, they decided that they were going to stay and fight nature. Number one, that is probably not the wisest thing. So, number one, okay. There were a bunch of things wrong with it. Number one, there was a hurricane in LA, which is virtually impossible.
Okay.
Number two, there were sharks that got displaced from this big storm that was coming up from Mexico, and they were angry and biting everybody. Number three, the hurricane / waterspouts / tornadoes / whatever the hell you want to call them picked up sharks. Number four, these sharks were angry and still alive while in the air, and anytime that they landed on somebody, they ate them.
Pat, this movie is called Sharknado.
Blood pressure rising. It was so bad. Okay, so in the end, what they decided to do, and I'll suspend all belief at this point. Okay, so let's just say it happened. Fine.
Right.
Fine. So they decide to stay and fight. And Ian's son in the movie, who's got to be like 25, 26, I have no idea, in real life. And I'm like, how old is Ian? And then I went, how old am I?
Yeah, exactly.
So Ian's son, who was in pilot training school for some reason, he took up a helicopter with the girl interest of one of the girl interests of the movie that wasn't Tara Reid, and went up in this helicopter to throw bombs into the tornadoes to kill the sharks and hopefully repressurize the system and kill the tornado at the same time. That was the plan. And the plan was working. They could get the helicopter, number one, they could get the helicopter close enough to the tornado without actually spinning out of control and dying themselves, which is totally believable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was a helicopter in Minneapolis in 1980, blah, 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 that actually went about a mile away from a tornado, and they didn't want to go any closer because of the winds.
Yeah.
And this was like the first time anybody had really gotten that close to a tornado, and it was like a mile away.
Which is dumb. Right.
So these guys were getting super, super close to the tornado. So close that a shark could actually bite the rails of the feet of I don't know what to call it, the helicopter.
Yeah.
So a shark actually bit that and held on, gripped, because I don't know why. I have no idea why. Anyway, so they're blowing up these tornadoes. There were a few of them, and the girl interest of the movie, she ended up trying to kick the shark that bit the helicopter, trying to get that shark off of the helicopter so that they could fly straight. And she managed to do that, but she fell out of the helicopter at the same time.
Oh,
You're like, oh my God. And then right at that same time, of course, coincidentally, at that same time, there was another shark that came by and just went, hope, and ate her whole. And then the interesting thing happened was that Ian actually took this big truck that they had rented. I don't know how this all works, really. I was really mostly confused and angry during this entire film. So he takes the truck and he blows up the tornado, and it ceases to be. But there are literally like 100 sharks in the air, still managing to flip their tails around so that you know that they're alive.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is coming straight for Ian's daughter.
Oh, no.
Right. So he pushes her out of the way, and he's holding a chainsaw, and he starts up the chainsaw. And the shark lands on him, eats him whole. And you're like, oh, no. Oh, no. The entire family's like that. I was like beside myself, angry, still just really pissed off at this whole thing. And you could see like the skin move, right? Like there's movement. Oh, no. And then he cuts himself out of the shark. And that's a huge shark, too. It's like 25 feet long, 30 feet long, something like that. I mean, just huge. And he cuts himself out of it. And he all covered in blood, and he falls out. And you think it's over. He goes back inside the shark, and you're like, what's going on here? He pulls out the girl that was eaten, that fell from the helicopter.
Oh, no.
And she is still alive. Seriously? Seriously, we're going for the extremely happy ending here. And of course, then the girl falls in love with Ian's son. So then it's the picture of the family, turning and looking at the sunset on LA, on a ruined LA. Just the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. Ever.
Wow. And that was an epic rant beyond epic rant.
It is the worst thing on television.
I'm impressed.
And I watched it all.
I know you did.
And my wife watched it with me. And she was not happy.
She was not happy to be watching this with you.
She was concerned for me, number one. She was really concerned for a second.
Oh,
Man, I tell you, not cool, guys. Not cool, sci-fi. And now we have to go through Ghost Shark. Remember Ghost Shark?
oh yeah.
It's a shark that's a ghost.
Yep.
Should I throw the tagline in there? Because I know what I said on a previous show.
Please do.
It will come up and eat you wherever you are wet. That one. And then we also have this one to look forward to right here. Hey, honey, great day for skiing, isn't it? Shark. Avalanche. Sharkalanche. The sequel to the original movie that started it all on Sci-Fi. Snow is frozen water, so the science is sound. Right? Sharkalanche. We're not even trying anymore. So that one's actually coming true.
I say the problem was that your predilection here
Yeah.
was wrong because you're talking about they weren't even trying anymore.
They weren't trying in the first place. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I apologize.
You were slightly wrong in that prediction,
Right.
but
I
yeah,
thought that they were
otherwise-
trying. I thought that they were trying in the first place. I mean, they got the 90210 cast back together. So, I was figuring, hey, maybe they're trying here. No, they're not. They're not. They weren't. They didn't.
90210 cast with the one person who was back there.
Sharknado.
Ian Ziering is the only person from 90210 that was on that show, by the way.
Wasn't Tara Reid on that? Wasn't she?
Nope, American
No.
Pie.
Oh. Either way, she can't act.
No,
So.
she cannot.
Mm,
Wow.
I don't know.
That
All right.
was an epic round.
That was. So we should probably just get into the Hollywood Rewind. All right, it's time for me to shut up and let's take a peek behind the curtain of what's been happening in Hollywood over the last week or so. Jules, what's been going on?
Where do I even start? Okay. So we'll start with things that are notable coming up for this next week.
Mhm.
Wednesday, December 4th. That is tomorrow, as we were recording on Tuesday night. There
Mhm.
is a new series on TNT called Mob City, written by Frank Darabont. He was the showrunner for The Walking Dead for a number of seasons. And now he is going to be doing this show about a mob series starring John Barenthal. He was Shane in The Walking Dead, if you remember him. And talking about Mickey Cohen and Bugsy Siegel.
Yep.
Going through all of those mobster-related things in the 1930s.
Right. And Frank Darabont also did the Shawshark Redemption. Oh, no, that's Shank. Sorry, that's Shawshank, not Shawshark. Everything's shark.
Wow.
Everything's shark right now. I know that was a bad joke. You can't win on
really
all
bad.
of them. You can't win on all of them. That's all I'm saying.
So I went to see Thor this weekend. This is actually related.
Okay.
I went to see Thor this weekend, and in my theaters they have this thing in the beginning where they do kind of commercially, kind of interviewee type series things,
Mhm.
and they did this little bit about Mob City, and it's very film noir. It's very very dark. It's very violent. Like the entire clip series that they did, it was people punching and yelling at each other the entire time.
Punching and yelling at each other?
Yeah, like I'm gonna kill you, man. You're dead. And then all of a sudden there's punching, and then there's guns, and then there's you're dead. I'm gonna kill you. It's like exactly what you kept seeing over
Wow.
and over. And I swear they had like 20 different little snippets of scenes that they showed to preview this, and they're like, "Thank you for watching our preview about Mob City." And I'm like, I didn't learn anything except people were really mad
Except
and they hit
that,
each
you're
other.
right. They're really angry at each other right now.
Yeah,
I have no idea what's going on at all, but they are angry.
they are angry. And so, yeah, I didn't learn anything about it, but apparently it's really good. So if you want to if you like the mobster stuff, this would be something that you might want to check out on TNT.
Sure. As long as you like angry people
Angry people who
and-
hit.
and punching.
Yes. Last week we talked about the SNL Thanksgiving special. Well, this week you can get the SNL Christmas special. Yeah. Even though it's 3 weeks before Christmas and
Right.
Hanukkah has already pretty much ended.
Yep.
You can get your Christmas fix on SNL at 9 o'clock on NBC again on Wednesday, tomorrow night.
Yes, and hopefully they will have. That's fun. It's fun. The specials kind of, it makes sense. They don't want to work, super hard, especially like these couple of weeks. I think next week they go back into new shows, I believe.
Yeah.
So they've got their work cut out for them throughout December, but they're taking a couple of weeks off so they can recharge their batteries.
Exactly. So so we'll get some more Christmas specialty stuff. And speaking of Christmas stuff, if you want to get into that on Monday, December 9th, there's a new series called The Great Christmas Light Fight on ABC.
More punching. It's punching and lights.
Yeah,
No, wait, what is it? It's punching light bulbs for charity. For Christmas. It's punching Christmas lights on trees. Is that I have no idea. What's going on with this show?
I don't know what you're talking about. So this is a competition show about people decorating their houses and trying to be better at it than their neighbors.
I've got a guy like that on my block.
So I talk about the cheesiest of these types of shows. I saw the preview for this as I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And usually I fast forward through all the commercials because I'm watching it on my DVR. And this one kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I went, what? And it is literally like people going, go, 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 go. And they're like trying to get their house decorated in a way that's like better than their friends. Like, so who's brighter? That's like, whose house is brighter? Oh man, I don't.
Who's brighter? The guy that spends $2,200 on electricity for the month because he's got all the bulbs ever,
yes.
Or the guy that has a respectable light show for a respectable amount of money?
Yeah, exactly. Just don't put those big inflatable things on your lawn. Seriously,
like the creepy Santa Claus and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't like that.
There's a house in our neighborhood. They have those big creepy blow-up lawn ornaments for every holiday. Like, they've got them up for Valentine's Day, for St. Patrick's Day, Arbor Day, man. There's a big tree out there.
A big blow-up tree?
Yeah.
Really?
No.
I was going to say. Better not be. They have one for Flag Day?
Sure, why not?
It's a national holiday. We need one for Flag Day. We need a blow-up flag for... Oh, wait, maybe we should just grab a regular flag. No, let's do a blow-up flag. Be great.
Well, you can't see the regular flag at night.
Right.
And finally, I have a retraction. I thought that the sing-off already started, and it turned out it was just a preview. The actual sing-off season 4, I think it is now, is going to premiere on Monday, December 9th. At 9 o'clock on NBC. So you will actually get to see it for real this time.
Yep.
And I won't miss it this time.
That's the Voices slot, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think the Voice is moving next week. So this is taking that. And that makes sense because this is this is a great singing competition, or at least it always has been. So I'm looking forward to this one. This one is actually really fun for a music nerd like myself.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I was watching videos of last season's winner, Pentatonix.
Oh yeah, those guys are so those guys are amazing.
Like beyond, like they managed to do a cappella by creating their own sound.
Right.
And it's so cool. Like they're doing other people's music, but they managed to do it in a way that is totally them. Like when you hear it, you know it's them. That is so hard to do.
My wife bought everything that they've ever done.
Really?
That they've ever put out. Yeah.
So
I mean,
good.
she bought all the stuff from the sing-off from the previous season, which was 2 years ago. Did they come out with an album too? I want to say they did.
They just did.
And so she's got that. Yeah.
If you get a chance, go and look at the video that they put out on YouTube for their Daft Punk compilation.
Oh man,
that they did. Oh, fantastic!
They're really good. So I'm looking forward to this season as well, and I hope that we see another group like that because those guys were fantastic.
I will be watching. So yes, there we go. Okay, so we will be moving on to what was announced for this week. I have this one just kind of came in at the last minute. the Weinstein brothers, who are famous for their movies, have now actually moved themselves into television, and to the tune of almost 14 different scripts and pilots that they're working on.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like no more TV for them. They're hard at work right now. Right now, it's 6 of them for sure.
Right.
And I think that I read in a separate article that it could be up to 14. And this is going to be all kinds of different things. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For is one of them. A spin-off television series for the movie in 2014. They're also considering making a series for the Silver Linings Playbook movie. Yep. And in addition to that, they're also going into a 10-episode series called The 10 Commandments, where directors like Lee Daniels and Madonna could oversee an episode about one of the commandments given to Moses.
Right. The thing that really caught my eyes, the thing that you were just talking about, is how they're doing spin-off television series for their movies.
Yes.
That they've done, which is interesting in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. Creatively, it kind of gives some new life to some of their properties that they've already done movies with, and maybe can't do another one with, and it kind of frees them. I think it also kind of takes a little bit of pressure to come up with new creative for movies, and I don't know, are movies not the way to go anymore? I mean, it sounds that's what it seems like for these guys anyway. They're diving into TV so that they can have a more balanced approach to how they're budgeting all their different projects and stuff. So
yeah, and you're seeing a shift these days with the ways that people watch their entertainment and the amount of quality entertainment that's being put out there for television. And I think that these two are smart. They're realizing that the money isn't going to be so much in the films any longer, because audiences are coming back and wanting to see more. You're going to see one film and maybe you'll watch that twice, 3 times, but it's not going to draw. If they can make movie level television, why not?
They already can get the actors. We know that.
Exactly.
I mean, they've been able to we've seen a lot of movie actors come over into TV over the last, probably 3-4 years for sure. Yeah. I think it started kind of with Glenn Close and Damages. It was one of the first big names that I saw from movies that came over into TV to do some TV stuff. And then we started seeing more and more of that over the last few years. And the actors are over here. They're getting the writers as well. Writers, I don't think there's ever a shortage of that, except on the Sharknado movie. There was a real big shortage of writers on that. Horrible. Oh, God, that dialogue was painful.
And yet, you know what? It's got a cult following like no other, so you just never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, could you imagine a time where Kevin Bacon and Kevin Spacey were actually making television and not movies?
Yeah. It's kind of weird to think about. But that is kind of the way that we're doing media now, that we're seeing these big movie stars come over to TV. So it makes sense, I guess, for the directors and for the movie makers to maybe dip their toes into TV. And these guys are definitely they're just jumping in.
Yeah.
They're just jumping.
They're smart to do it too, in my opinion.
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah.
Why not? Do it.
So, yeah, I mean, I keep your eyes out, because they're hitting all different networks. They're doing MTV, Netflix, BBC. It's all over. So it's not going to be just like they're dedicated to one network to create these shows. I really think this is going to be something you're going to be seeing a lot of from the Weinstein brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're great creators, so I look forward to whatever they put out.
Yes, sir. So, moving on to Amazon Prime, to be exact.
Yeah.
This is something that they did new this year for Christmas holiday and holiday season. You can actually give an Amazon Prime membership as a gift to somebody else.
That's kind of cool.
It is really cool. So it's a $79 service that gives you the ability to do free shipping, free 2-day shipping on any purchases. You also get the ability to stream over 41,000 movies and shows And you can also borrow books on their Kindle Owners Lending Library of over 350,000 ebooks. So if you're looking for something for someone who is a big purchaser, I don't know, Pat Crane maybe?
And a little bit of a tech guy, too. You got to have
a tech guy.
Or girl.
Or girl.
Or
See, I already have this service, and I put it to like crazy use.
So, well, and I just got that service, actually.
Oh, you did get it?
Yeah, I did. I did just get it.
Dang, you just spoiled my Christmas present idea for you. I'm just going to get you this.
Yeah, I got it. Because of the 2-day service and because the holidays were coming up and because. And now they're doing the drone shipping too.
Yes, it is like,
which is amazing. If you guys haven't seen the stuff about Amazon drone shipping, they are shipping things within, what is it, an hour or something like that?
Yeah.
To your house, like direct from order. And I'm guessing this is going to be in select areas only.
Where they have their distribution centers, yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing that. And I saw a thing on the Colbert show, on the Colbert Report, right? That Steven came up with the unique idea that they should go one step further because, still they have to wait a whole hour to get their stuff from these drones. These people want things immediately, and and Steven's thought was you should have like places around certain areas where people could actually go in and see the stuff, grab it immediately, and throw it into something that resembles their shopping cart icon and purchase it right there and then so that they can get immediate gratification. That was Steve's idea.
All right. Something that sounds really similar to a shopping mall in my mind.
Yeah, he actually called it was a shop, but I can't remember what it stood for. It stood for something. Anyway,
okay.
It was a big long thing. It was funny.
So let me give you guys a quick tip about Amazon Prime, especially if you don't have it right now and you're thinking about getting it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You get a free 1-month trial of Amazon Prime when you sign up.
Yep.
And it is now the holiday season, right now.
Yep.
So your free 1-month trial will begin now, and you can get this for free to get free 2-day shipping on anything from Amazon for the holidays.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, just don't sign up for it.
Absolutely.
But you'd love it. So, but anyway, this is just a little tip for you. So do it now. If you're thinking about it, do it now because free 2-day shipping.
Right. Right.
So,
and then you can get access all the movies and shows and the ebooks and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And
why not?
Their movies are really starting to show a lot of promise, and their TV shows are starting to come up more. So you check them out and see what you think. I don't use Amazon Prime a lot for movies. I use it for the ebooks and I use it for the shipping right now. But I think that we are going to be, especially for this show, watching on that.
I think that's going to be kind of one of the big, but coming up into 2014, that is one of the things that is, they're starting to create new shows for Amazon Prime. And might as well take a look at those and see if what they're like.
Exactly.
What they're doing. So,
exactly.
So we'll be taking a look on this show for sure.
Especially Pat, because now he has his own membership. Look at you.
That's right.
Look at you. And finally, this week, we have... I wanted to give a little shout out to the old Doctor Who anniversary special because, as we've mentioned in the previous show, they did release this in theaters. And this is a pretty interesting stat. It grossed $10.2 million globally in cinemas, which it drew a higher Monday per screen average than The Hunger Games Catching Fire, even though that film was playing in 6 times as many theaters. So on that same day, Doctor Who was the top movie.
So, well, that's deceptive.
Yeah, well.
A higher Monday... So was it just on Monday that they took the snapshot?
Just on Monday.
Just on Monday, they took a snapshot, and then they said, per screen, it's making more money.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Monday is not a big movie night, by the way.
No, but...
It's not going to be a huge thing. Most people had already seen The Hunger Games by that point, right? The ones that really wanted to see it.
I still haven't seen it, and I really want to see it, so...
I'd like to see it. I haven't seen it
Yeah.
yet.
I chose to go see Thor first because it was going to leave the theaters before Hunger Games would. That's why.
Okay.
So maybe I'll go see it this weekend. Maybe.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I'll watch both. And then
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just going to stay in the theater for 6
Yeah.
hours and 10 hours just to have lunch there, dinner.
It's your refillable popcorn. You got to do it.
Bring
that way.
my sleeping bag. Sleep there. Sure.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the discussion topic of the week, which is about Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was reading through, I usually just check out Netflix's articles, what's going on in the news. And something that really stuck out to me for the biggest news of the week for Netflix is a new show that they're putting out called Turbo Fast. It's an animated series from the DreamWorks Animation Studios.
We talked about that a little bit, that they were going to be doing that. That's pretty cool.
Right. The weirdest thing about this, though, is that the news was not focused on the fact that this new series was coming out. The news was focused on the fact that Netflix is not going to be following its binge-watching model of releasing all of the episodes at the same time.
Right.
And the reason why that they're not doing this is literally because they will not be ready by its release date.
Yep.
So, okay, here, this is the news. This is a new show. It's DreamWorks Animation. They're very popular. This is a kids show. People want to know about it. I had to read 7 different articles to actually find out what Turbo Fast was about.
And what did your research turn up?
That it's about snails.
Yeah.
That was it.
Racing snails.
Racing snails.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does this say about our current climate of these original content streaming services programs?
What do you mean?
This is not a trick question.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What does this say about our focus on what the news article is, what the story is?
That the story is about that it's not going to be available for mass watching, for binge watching, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the saddest thing, I think, I don't know if it's sad, it just kind of stuck in my brain when I read about it, is that the interview that they had was with Jonathan Friedland, who is their chief communications officer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that 26 episodes wouldn't be finished by Christmas Eve, which is the release date. So he had to justify it by saying kids will have something to look forward to all year because we're going to choose to make the episodes that are available ready now. And
I think this makes perfect sense for them.
Okay.
It really does. So they're releasing this stuff in pods, right? So they're not going to be releasing all 26, but they're going to be releasing, say, 5 for the first 5. Yep. And so animation is a little bit beefier of a process,
right?
Where it takes a movie, let's say, roughly like a live action movie, no real special effects, but just your normal editing and whatnot. That takes about 9 months for it to come out, for it to be ready. And for an animation, for an animated movie, that takes 3 years.
Yep.
And they go through all sorts of different iterations and different, voices and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's a real process for that stuff. Even The Simpsons, which, is a great show, and they've proven that how many seasons have they done?
Oh, 25.
25, yeah.
Almost 25.
So, but their production is also really long.
Yep.
For one show, it takes 9 months to a year.
Yep.
Because they ship it all out overseas to get the animation done.
Yep.
The only one that has ever done it very, very quickly is South Park. And those guys do an extraordinary amount of turnaround with their program so that it can remain relevant, so that they can do like quick turnaround for news stuff that happens.
Something that happens in that current time frame.
Right. And Netflix isn't going to worry about that part. No. So they don't have to go on the breakneck speed of the guys over at South Park like those guys do. So it makes sense. Release it in a few shows, and especially considering the audience, kids rerun everything.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. If you're a parent with a little one, or if you've had a little one, you know this. They will play one song to death until you want to take an ice pick to your eardrums and just go, I can't listen to this any longer. They will do the same thing with these shows, and they will enjoy them just fine. You might not anymore, but they will enjoy it just fine. So maybe it'll be five episodes that they'll want to rerun over and over and over again until, maybe a couple of months down the line. And then you get 5 new ones, and then you go, oh, thank God there are 5 new ones. Oh, my. Because I could not live another day with these same 5.
Well, you have it right on the head. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing, with kids being able to watch things over and over and over again. Yeah. I think it's the adult crowd that is the difficult one, where we're now coming to expect that all of your content is going to be available on these streaming services when they release.
This is not a dramatic show. This is not something where we're going to have a huge story arc, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's a totally different show. It deserves a totally different release schedule from the other shows. So,
but this was not intentional. This wasn't like they just planned. I don't think they planned this. It sounds like they just said, "Hey, we said we were going to release it on this day, so hey." Yeah. But the reason behind it was that they just decided to release it on that day, and everything wasn't ready. So that's why they did it.
And I think it'll play just fine.
Oh, yeah. But it blows me away that, I probably looked and saw 15 different articles, and every single one of them took the same tack, which is that they were not focusing on releasing this.
They're all just getting it off of the AP. They're all just getting it off the wire and retyping it.
I don't know why this bothered me so much, but it did.
That's the way. It's so funny. News is just always funny. They always just try to find the littlest thing and pick it apart or whatever. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes not so much. This is one of those times where it's not so much. I mean, it's different. So, yes, it is news, technically. I don't think it's all that great a news, though.
No, it's not. Not at all. It's like, well, slow news week. We need to do something. So everybody's going to write about this one thing that came out on the PR wire.
Right. Exactly. All right, we do have to move this show along, though, and we're going to move it directly into the poop. Okay, so what do we have? I mean, Sharknado's not here, but we do have something in the poop for this week, don't we, Jules?
Oh, yes, we do.
An old favorite.
And, one of our most favorite-ish shows ever.
that we have watched for this show.
We have watched for this show. Okay, so I'm basically just going to drop this poop, and I'm going to let Pat go. Because that's how this works here.
I don't know what I got left in me. We'll see.
We'll see. Duck Dynasty. We're talking about Duck Dynasty. Their Christmas special is approaching quickly. And the special about this episode is that Ms. K will be preparing a turducken. A pig inside a turkey.
Nope, other way around. Other way around.
Okay, a chicken inside a duck, inside a turkey, inside a pig.
That's right.
It.
That's right.
And go.
No. That's the way you got to do it. Because if you had the pig inside a turkey, inside a duck, inside a chicken, that would be one big ass chicken.
It would be a big ass chicken one.
No, the turducken has been around for a while now. Have you heard of the turducken before? This
is my reference back to Chopped, the Thanksgiving special, because they had a turducken as their entree, one of their entree basket ingredients, and that sucker was the grossest thing I have ever seen in my life. Right. And I watched them chop it up, and I went, "Oh man!"
So the turducken, or the purducken in this case, they take the whole thing, they stuff it inside a stuffing, whatever it is, and then they just deep fry that crap.
Yep.
Right? So they just stick it in a big deep fryer and they go cook meat, and then it cooks, and then people cut it up and they like it for some reason.
And they like it a lot.
I am it's weird. Don't get me wrong, this is very strange, and I have never partaken in a turducken or a purducken or even a chicken inside a duck. Never experienced that.
I'm sorry, that thing looks disgusting.
I don't want to. I like my meat separate from other meats. That's fine. That's just a preferred thing. I like one meat at a time, and I will enjoy that one meat. I think 4 is maybe a little out of control. I think maybe you need to go to a support group. Something. I'm just not getting enough meat in my diet. I want more meat with my meat.
Please.
So, yeah, it's a little extreme.
Yeah. But this is what Duck Dynasty does. It's their thing. But
and it's going to be some sort of disaster that they're going to have to try to fix, and then at the end it'll all go sort of sideways anyway. So,
oh God, I mean, I've heard of people like bacon wrapping their turkey and doing that kind of thing. So, how do you feel if you want your meat separate? Are you against the bacon and turkey combination?
Well, yes and no. No, not really. I mean, bacon is not really that's a side meat. It's a side meat. So we have the main meat, which is the turkey in that case, and then you have bacon. Bacon is in strips. It's a little tiny. It's just a little tiny bacon. It's just and a little tiny bacon just makes everything. It's more of a spice, really. It's kind of more of a meat spice. Wouldn't you agree?
Meat spice.
So it's kind of because it's salty and it's got some good fat on it and all that kind of. It's just who doesn't like bacon? I mean, other than vegetarians and stuff.
And people who are Jewish.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But they might like bacon. They just can't eat it.
Exactly.
Right. So,
side meat.
It's a side meat. Bacon is a side meat. And I think we can all agree on that. Even Canadian bacon, which Canadians just call bacon. Yeah. No, actually, they call it back bacon or something like that. Anyway, that is another one of those things that could be considered a side meat. Because it comes as a side for breakfast or something.
Side meat is so funny.
Stuff like that. Side meat. And even sausage is a side meat, right?
Depends. If you do bangers and mash, that's not really side meat.
It's kind of right in the middle. It's not necessarily main meat. Your main meat. You have your main meat and then you have your side meat. We're trying to figure out exactly how this works out. So,
oh my God.
So side meat is totally different.
Okay, now that we've established it.
Does everybody have that straight now out there in that TV show land? I don't know.
Raise your hands if you know what a side meat is.
Now people are raising their hands on the subway and stuff like that. I've had people tell me that they laughed and looked like a crazy person on the subway or something like that.
On the bus, on the subway, standing at
at work.
Yep.
Now my coworkers think I'm crazy because I was cackling like a mad fool because of side meat and Sharknado.
Oh God! No, we're not going to do side meat and Sharknado. That is a bad parody. Bad.
No, never together. I don't think I want my shark with my side meat. I don't think that makes sense.
Okay.
I will say that.
Don't eat bacon while watching Sharknado.
No, that's not the right thing.
All right. You had your Duck Dynasty fun. I think it's time for us to go into the watch list.
Nice segue, Jules.
I took your thunder. I did.
No, that's totally cool. I'm good with it.
I never do it.
I'm good with it. Well, this is the part of the show. The watch list is where we take a look at shows. And we take a look at an entire season of a show. Usually the first one, we start from one, we go all the way through a series, or for the UK, it's a series. Normally for the States, it's the first season. Yep. So we are wrapping up that TV show season 2 with what, Jules?
We are watching the end of The IT Crowd, and it is a British sitcom. A live action comedy. And it's about it basically has 3 main characters. two IT guys and their boss, who is definitely not an IT person, and all the antics that ensue around them being as part of the IT department that lives in the basement of this building. Very, very okay. First of all, it got even better than the first three. So we watched 3 episodes for the end of this. So for a six episode series for season 1, series
right.
1.
Series 1 is
Series 1.
six episodes. So we watched 4, 5, and 6, half-hour comedy show, and really super funny, very loud, very obnoxious on some levels, and yet the comedy is solid.
Oh gosh. I laughed my head off at some of this. Like, it's so absurd and cheesy, and you totally know what's coming, and you know how they're going to do it, and yet they do it in a way that still makes you laugh your head off. And I
Right.
love that about this show. It's like you can totally see how they're setting up the punchline where Moss tells this guy who's trying to date Jen that she's dead because she doesn't want to see him, and it turns into these series of unfortunate events for this poor guy who's kind of a jerk, that he thinks that she is dead and haunting him when actually she is out just kind of doing her thing around the office.
Right.
And this funny thing. So
Right.
I don't know why. It's like, I would hate this in an American sitcom. I would.
Yeah, well, I think it just plays better because it's British.
I think so
Really?
too, because it's so slapsticky, and I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
Well, and some of it makes sense because there have been shows from the UK like Absolutely Fabulous.
Yep.
Kind of lines up right with this show as far as the intensity of it, the amount of like emotion that some of these characters have is just so over the top that that it kind of overwhelms your senses to a bit. And like the boss, the chief guy of the company, he is so over the top. It's incredible, but they make him look really dumb, but in a fun way that you don't hate him.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the same way with everybody. And it seems like always the case where you think they might go into like a kind of a ranty situation where they don't like somebody, and then you think that they're going to go down the path of, I don't like you because you're an awful person and blah blah blah, but it's usually not. It's usually like, I hate you because you're so beautiful and charming and, you know, so wonderful with people and you know how to handle. So, I mean, they kind of change it up, right? So they kind of switch directions a little bit here and there, where it turns it so that it's not dark. It's always stays light side, always stays really funny, and yet is completely obnoxious. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, I just lost sound for a second there because my cat decided to pull my headphones out of my ear.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Lovely.
But I heard some of it. Okay, so there's one thing that I wanted to ask you about this too, which I thought was interesting. There was that whole scene, and it's the whole mistaken identity kind of gag where you have what is this? Roy. You have Roy going up there to talk to the lady that he thinks he's supposed to go talk to.
Well, that he's trolling, essentially.
That he's trolling. Yeah, he's trying to like cruise the ladies.
Yeah.
And he comes up to a beautiful woman. He starts to troll. She's like, "Oh no, I'm not Julie. I'm Judy, and that's Julie." Or she points. Right. I don't remember what the name was. And they pan out to a woman who is the absolute trolliest looking person in the world, where she's got hair on her face. She's overweight. She screams and yells. She's just unattractive on every level.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at this and and you're laughing as a viewer would. I'm cracking up and I'm like, this would never fly on American TV. We would never be able to do this.
It might. It
Really?
might, but you would have a different type of person on that, because I don't think that there would be certain things that you wouldn't be able to do. But at the same time, it is really obnoxious.
Yeah.
It's really obnoxious, and it's more the obnoxiousness of it that would be toned down for US TV than anything else.
Right.
And they would probably also not have it be an overweight person for concerns of being PC, essentially. So they'd probably have it be an average sized person, but still be like really kind of grotesque.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So they change it up a little bit here and there, but and definitely tone it down quite a bit. That's the only way that it could play, though.
Yeah, and yet, I found myself laughing and feeling guilty about laughing about it because it was so absurd and kind of mean. It was a little bit mean-spirited. But it was supposed to be the comedy of errors for Roy. It was the, he's going to yet again bumble into a situation where he does not know where he's headed, and now he has to pay for his silliness.
Yep.
And so, but in the whole scheme of things, this show is really funny.
It is.
The episode where the second one to the last one where Moss tells the lie that Jen is dead.
Mm-hmm.
I cracked up on that whole episode because it was just so goofy and silly, and they just kept the joke going, and you just kept laughing at it.
Right. And it's the whole comedy of errors thing it just starts from the very first scene, and it continues on throughout the show, and they do a really good job of focusing the story and focusing the comedy and really telling us a solid story, keeping true to the characters and having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which is not easy. Not easy at all. And they do a great job of it. So I this first series for them, loved it.
Oh, I loved it too. And so they kind of leave the ending episode in a bit of a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just seriously tempted to pick it up and start watching the second series because I wanted to know what happened. I was like,
yeah.
And like, this was our first comedy that you and I have ever watched together on this show. And
oh, isn't that sweet?
It was.
It's our first comedy ever on this show that we watched together.
Yay. And it was awesome. And I was really surprised about how much I loved it. And how much it was really that cool to me. I really dig it. It was cool.
Well, maybe we'll expand your horizons with another comedy at some point in the future.
Really?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe even the next time.
Oh boy.
But we won't know for a while.
We don't even know now.
We won't know. But you like the show. Okay, if we had 5 things, I don't even know what it's stars or pumpkins or whatever the 5 things are, what would you give this show if everything was good? I mean, obviously if it's 5 like piles of poop, it would be a different judging system, but let's just say that they're good things that you want. Say stars. How many stars would you give this show?
I would give this show 4.5 stars.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah,
that's about right. It lives solidly in the 4-star section, maybe a little bit more.
I mean, there are certain episodes where it kind of gets a little bit draggy,
mm-hmm.
And the jokes are a little bit long in the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it takes itself right back in, and they've done a really good job taking the absurd and still making it funny. I mean, at one point, they bring in a character who's a completely goth dude who's like working in their basement, like behind this door.
He's hilarious.
Richmond?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I died. Every time he was on screen, I died.
He's absolutely hilarious and a great add to the show.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And he is truly like this vampire looking goth dude who's so emo, it hurts. And I loved it. And I'm like, really? Because this guy's working in the basement. He doesn't know what he's doing. And nobody knows he's there until the 5th episode. Really?
And it totally worked.
It did.
It totally worked. I loved it. It was great. This is a great show. And if you're looking for a fun comedy, especially if you're into British comedies like Absolutely Fabulous or, going back to... forever. You can kind of find these UK shows that are obnoxious comedies like this. It's a fun get. It just is a fun one.
Yay.
For everybody.
That's
so
awesome.
There. I do think that we are running a little bit long, Jules.
Sharknado. Yes, we are.
Because of Sharknado. And I apologize for that. So we're gonna skip the hit list.
All right. Well, you know, I did mention in the intro, so I'm sorry. I will post. How about I post my gift ideas on our forums? How's that?
That would be great. That would be great. There are gift ideas for the TV person in your life.
Yes.
So there. And we will post that up on the forums. And I'm going to play this because this is the end of the show and this is the end of the season. Well, don't be sad though.
Oh, okay.
Like I was in the beginning. I was a little misty in the beginning. But now I've come to realize that all good things will come back to you if you let them go for just a little bit. They'll come back to you if they love you. And this one will, because we love you.
We do love you.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy
Kwanzaa.
holidays. Yeah, happy Kwanzaa. Sure. All that stuff. And we wish you and yours only the best for the holiday season. And moving into 2014, we have not talked about a date that we're coming back specifically.
Not yet. So I would suggest that you keep an eye on our social media stuff.
Yeah. And you can keep an eye on Twitter at That TV Show. Or individually, isn't that right, Jules?
That is right. Follow Pat Crane on Twitter at Pat Crane with a K, and follow me, Jules, at JulesRPG.
Right, and you can always email us in the meantime if you want to at thattvshow@gmail.com. And our show, we also have the forums, like we were talking about before.
Yes.
We have other stuff, and that is all at thattvshow.net. And our show is available on Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of other places. And please go over to signalsmedia.com. Check out all of our friends on the All-Star Network over there. And I was talking with Andrew today.
Yes.
He has a show called Super Number One.
Which is awesome.
They're going to be changing up that show.
What?
They are going to be changing up that show.
Oh, I need to hear more about this later.
Super Number One is changing, people.
Oh, my.
So, get ready for big changes. Good stuff, too. It's going to be a lot of fun over there, especially if you're into cycling.
Ooh, yes, both of them are.
Yes, if you're into cycling across the world, they have a new plan for Super Number One, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to hear it. So, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show, which will be in 2014 at some time. Keep tuned to the Twitter feed and all the other socials that we'll have at that point. For Jules,
Pat.
it's been a lovely season.
It has been, and I am looking forward to everything we plan for 2014. It's going to be a great season 3.
It's going to be awesome. For Jules Scott, my name's Pat Crane, and bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com. It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?
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 Really?